When Steve Nash signed with the Phoenix Suns prior to the 2004-2005 season, the team had won 29 games the year prior. Nash then led the Suns to a franchise record-tying 62 wins as an offensive juggernaut that revolutionized the game of basketball. Nash won MVP that season and the season after that, despite not even leading his own team in scoring. This year feels like deja vu in the desert, with future Hall of Fame point guard Chris Paul helping lift the Suns from a 34-win season to the second best record in the Western Conference and legitimate title aspirations. And for that reason, just like Nash, Paul deserves to be in the MVP race. We should start off by saying that there is no clear-cut definition or any league-wide requirements to hoist the Maurice Pudilov Trophy, also known as the Most Valuable Player Award. The definition is ambiguous, which often leads to varying opinions on what it means to be most valuable.
I have no idea what that means.
If it's the best player on the best regular season team, then Giannis Antetokounmpo winning MVP the last two seasons makes sense. If it's the league's best scorer that particular season, then James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant winning the award in the years they led the league in scoring also makes sense. And if it's the league's best player, then LeBron James should have way more than just 4 awards.
It's a travesty.
But rarely does the MVP award's main premise of value ever get mentioned. Everywhere CP3 has gone throughout his career, he's shown off his value almost instantaneously. The leadership he provides both on the court as a teammate and off the court as a mentor to some of the league's young and brightest has proved to be fruitful for the franchises he joins. It's come to be known as the Chris Paul effect.
I've heard of that.
When he was drafted by the New Orleans Hornets in 2005, he led a team that had only won 18 games the year before to 38 wins, while also winning the league's Rookie of the Year honors. And in just his third season in the league, led the Hornets to 56 wins, the second best record in the Western Conference, while averaging a double-double of 21 points and 11 assists.
Looking, finds Paul with 2, with 1, Paul for the win!
Paul finished second in MVP voting to the late and great Kobe Bryant that season, but that is the closest Paul has gotten to winning the league's most prized individual award. In the 2011-2012 season, when Paul was traded from New Orleans to the LA Clippers and paired alongside Blake Griffin, Paul revamped another franchise. A Clippers team that had the third worst record in the Western Conference the year before quickly became a mainstay in the Western Conference playoff picture with 6 consecutive playoff appearances, the longest streak in franchise history. And Paul hit big shot after big shot in the process.
Chris Paul. This Western Conference first round. Paul gets free again and hits again. 8 points for Chris Paul.
On Paul. And he got it! 1 second left. Clippers by 2.
After his long tenures with the Hornets and Clippers, Paul had shorter stints as a member of the Houston Rockets and Oklahoma City Thunder. In Houston, he formed one of the most dynamic duos in the NBA with James Harden and made his one and only conference finals appearance, almost toppling the Kevin Durant-led Warriors, but a hamstring injury to Paul forced him to sit out of Game 7 in Houston. With the Thunder, he took a team that had a 0.2% chance to make the playoffs to 44 wins and the 5th best record in the Western Conference, while almost beating the same Harden-led Rockets team he was on just the year before.
He got his hands on it. Dort for 3, blocked by Harden. Dort got it back, tried to throw it off Harden, and missed him.
Every single team that Paul has joined in his now 16-year NBA career has improved in the first season Paul dons the team's jersey. And by wins added, Paul is the 4th most impactful player of the last decade, right behind LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant. And in the top 5 of that category, Paul is the only player without an MVP trophy. This season with the Suns, Paul's 15.8 points per game and 8.7 assists per game aren't eye-popping numbers, but his impact is clear. He's already helped the Suns beat their last season win total of 34 in just 51 games. They have one of the best records in a stacked Western Conference and have the 7th best offensive rating and 5th best defensive rating compared to last season, where they were ranked 12th and 17th in those categories respectively. Last year, the Suns were 16-21 in games decided by 5 points or less. With Paul this season, they're 16-11 in those games. The 1-2 punch of Devin Booker and Paul has become one of the most unstoppable backcourts in the NBA this season. With Paul, Booker has been afforded the luxury of playing off-ball more, with CP3 handling the rock more often. This season, 39% of Booker's half-court plays result in him either spotting up from 3, coming off a screen, or using a handoff, compared to last season when it was just 32% and the year before at 26%. He's also elevated the play of center DeAndre Ayton, who is averaging the highest estimated plus-minus and the highest real true shooting percentage of his young career. Ayton and Paul are a part of 3 of the 5 best 3-man lineups for the Suns that have played more than 800 minutes together this season. And it's not just Ayton and Booker that he's impacting. Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson are both having career years, and Cameron Payne, who has finally found a consistent role as a backup point guard, credits Paul for his recent success.
I'm gonna compete against him every time we have the opportunity, because it's gonna make me better, and he makes me better. And like I said, just watching, even on 5-on-0, he sees things, stops the whole play. Like, man, let's work on this one. Let's work on this flare. And there's little things like that where some players will just say, all right, let's go do it. But he's like another coach, and it's good to see. And like I said, it's great to learn from a guy like Chris.
Paul's intensity and laser-like focus elevates the play of his teammates, all while leaving a lasting impression even after having left the franchise. He's the ultimate floor raiser, and if we're going by the definition of most valuable player, then this season, Paul is almost second to none. But he's not going to win. The pool of players on winning teams with big individual numbers all have the advantage. Guys like Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Damian Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and James Harden. And that's the issue with the MVP award. Paul is probably going to go the rest of his career without winning a trophy that by definition suits his characteristics the most. And in turn, his legacy is going to be under question, despite arguably being one of the greatest floor generals of all time. Maybe the NBA should adopt a method like the NFL, where there's an MVP award, an Offensive Player of the Year, and Defensive Player of the Year. Or maybe adding a Lifetime Achievement Award that Paul is absolutely deserving of. Regardless, the one thing that could cement Paul's legacy in the history books would be that elusive NBA championship. And I wouldn't count the Suns out. They've proven to be one of the best teams in the Western Conference this year, and with the injuries piling up for the Lakers and Nuggets, there's no clear-cut favorite in the West. And a championship would be much sweeter than any MVP award. I'm sure Steve Nash would agree. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button.